By the end of watching this video, you're going to be armed with a framework to ask the most impactful and memorable questions at the end of an interview. So why are we given the opportunity to ask questions at the end of the interview? Companies want to bring people on board who have originality of thought and bring in new perspectives and ideas. So ask questions that you can't easily find the answer to online. These questions are your way to make sure that you stay memorable and challenge the interviewer a little bit. There are 3 types of questions that fit these characteristics that you need to be armed with at the end of your interview. Question type number 1, questions to show your intent for the particular company. You're not just applying for a job here. You're applying to join a company whose values and perspectives you should be aligned on. These intent-based questions can form 2 types. One is more culturally orientated and the second is more objective orientated. You should choose which question to ask based on who is interviewing you. If it's someone more on the HR or cultural side, go with the cultural question. If it's someone on the business side or someone you'll be working for, go for the business orientated question. So here's an example of an intelligently crafted cultural based question. Say you've researched the company and it has a relatively flat structure. You can infer from that and ask questions off the back of it. Cultural question number 1. I noticed that your company has a very flat structure and hierarchy. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that's impacted the company culture? That's a great question because it shows that you've really researched more than perhaps what the interviewers even told you, and you're asking to learn more about the specific company culture, which is always a real sign of intent for that particular company. On the business side, if you're interviewing for a mid to senior role and it's a public company, you should always read the company's latest annual report, and that often goes into details such as company performance, what they've done well on, what they've not done so well on, what their priorities and objectives are for the next 5 years. It's a great place to formulate a question on the business side. An example of a business-oriented question would be, I noticed in your annual report that the last year was your fastest rate of growth over the last decade, which is really exciting. Can you tell me a little bit more about the levers that led to that rate of growth and what you're looking at from the year ahead? That's a great question because you've gone to the effort of actually reading the company's annual report and you're showcasing that. And you're also showcasing that you're noticing the trajectory that the company is on and you want to learn more about that and the specific business drivers behind it. Question type number 2, success in the role orientated questions. These success-based questions are based on visualizing for yourself and also for the interviewer, you in the actual role and probing on what success would really look like for the company. There's not only a psychology to this question where you're actually being a little bit assumptive, just be a little bit cheeky, but it's also a way to showcase that you're very action oriented and you're right now, before you even have the job, thinking about what value you can add and bring to the company and your future line manager. This question is very simple. It's simply asking, can you tell me what success would look like in this role over the next 6 to 12 months. That's it. It's opening the floor for the interviewer to also go into talking about the details of the actual role and also any real challenges or opportunities that they see. Gaining this information will also set you up really well for the next follow-on interview that you have. And finally, question type number 3, questions to build connection. It's been scientifically proven that people feel more connected to you when they can volunteer information about themselves far more so than listening to you talk about yourself. So this is really key if you want to establish a connection and a lasting memory with the person interviewing you. An example of a connection-orientated question would be, I'd love to understand your career journey a little bit more. I can see that you've been with the company for the last 5 years. Can you tell me about the most rewarding and also potentially challenging parts of that last 5 years? This is a super personal and also very open question, which allows the interviewer to open up about their life and their journey to date. In answering this question, they're really going to show a bit of empathy and build more of a personal connection with you, which is really essential to make a lasting impact, particularly considering that they're probably interviewing lots of people back to back, and there's probably very few who have actually asked them about themselves. So there you have it, 3 types of questions to prepare for and be armed with to ask at the end of any and every interview that you have. You can switch up the exact questions that you ask, but be sure to follow this 3-question winning framework based on showing first company intent, second showcasing success in the role, and finally building connection. If you found this video helpful, please do support my channel and give me a like and a comment below. You can also ask any questions and I will get back to answering them. Please do like and subscribe for more videos. You can also check out my other videos on how to introduce yourself in an interview and also how to find a career that you love.